I've just done a session of tapping and it's inspired me to make this video. I was tapping about power, about when I felt powerless, especially situations and people with whom I felt that they were taking my power away from me. And for example, the other day I was doing a vlog on abuse, and there was this relationship I was in, and there's a concept I didn't mention and I should have in that video, which is breadcrumbing. And so this is when someone gives you a little bit, enough to stay hooked onto them, hoping for more, hoping that there will be more. It can be that it's like things are given in small quantity of what it is that you want, or it could be that you are made to believe you're going to be given whatever it is that you want or need, but somehow it just never happens. And so So with that relationship, what I felt was something weird. I Now I know I had felt it before, but at the time I did not remember feeling it before, and I didn't even afterwards, even just afterwards. I was very clear with that sensation. I was very clear with experiencing that sensation, but I could not remember ever feeling it as such before that. And what this is an incredible aching of the heart. It's like you want something so bad and you can't have it. And so the heart goes, "Ugh," like, I want this, ugh, kind of thing. And it was really an incredibly horrible sensation. It felt like not even as if you were being, as if I was being stabbed in the heart by a dagger, but as if many daggers reside in my heart, kind of thing. And so that ache, when I came out of the relationship, that ache, it came back to me. And I knew what it was. I knew it was the aching for something that I was never given. Um, but I think I may have done some tapping on it, but I don't think I did much on it as such. And I didn't realize, I just thought it was me aching to get something and then not being given it and not having it, like the pain of not having something that you're really wanting. But actually, while I was doing this tapping today on my power, on my loss of power, I realized the aching was my loss of power. It's like my power was taken away from me by that person who was breadcrumbing me, um, because I became completely dependent of them providing me, or my happiness became dependent of them providing me with what I was aching for. So that ache was uh, a, a, a a warning, a signaling of my loss of power. So that is one way that my power I felt, or I'm saying my power was. I was going to say my power was taken away from me, but really, it can never be taken away from me. It's that I gave it away. So I gave my power away at that moment, and so I did tapping on the aching and on the um the loss of power, the feeling and the experiencing of loss of power. Uh, so in this video, I'm going to be talking more about power, about how I experience power and how especially I've experienced loss of power, and then how I've been claiming it back and things we can do to bring the power back to ourselves. But this is all based on my experience and on my practices. Um, so, so that was one way that I lost power. Another is when I feel small in front of something. I come from the countryside in France. Oh, by the way, terrible loss of power. My hair, uncontrollable. And loss of power is this, yeah? It's the feeling that we can't control things and that we can't do anything about something, or that we can't make something happen for ourselves, that we don't have the power to and feeling with whatever resonates. Yeah. Uh, so when I feel small, I'm coming from the south of France, countryside, lost in the country, and I land in London, one of the biggest cities in the world. And I felt so incredibly small that the first time I arrived here to live, I stayed for a month in my house, in my bedroom, on my bed, and did not move because I was so scared that if I got out, I would actually get lost and never be able to get back to my house. Uh, so that is an incredible feeling of loss of power when I feel so small compared with the immensity. And immensity, oh my gosh, I mean, the universe is the vastest thing that there is, and it is everything. So if I feel so small in the vastness of the universe, how can I feel powerful? How can I embody my own power and my um my energy? But it's more like, how do I feel like I belong on my throne? How how do I uh, own my crown? That's it. How do I own my crown? And so feeling small is another one. And I've done tapping a few times now. Well, no, not a few times, a couple of times on feeling small in London. And it's changing my life now because I'm starting to feel like I belong. I was driving the other day and I felt like settled and rooted. It was amazing, this feeling. But settled and rooted, but with a very deep sense of peace, like nothing bad's gonna happen and nothing's gonna be taken away from me, type of thing. Another way that I feel power is taken away from me is when someone makes a decision for me and then I have no choice in the matter. And that happens a lot with governmental bodies. And a few years ago, we nearly lost our house. And it was because of taxes. And I was dealing with the debt department of the taxis, and they are ruthless, horrible, horrendous, not a sense of humanity, not an understanding or patience to try and understand personal circumstances. And really, yeah, really a nasty, nasty team of workers, most of them. I won't say all of them because I'm sure that there are amazing people. I doubt amazing people would have in their heart to do such a job. But anyway, that's not for me to judge. I had been on the phone with them for almost a year trying to sort this out, some debts with HMRC. And And then there came that moment where I called them at the office, and I found a ruthless, absolutely ruthless woman that I can't even think. And again, that's not for me to judge, but I can't help myself still because I haven't completely healed that situation. I can't understand what can, what in life can shape someone to be that way. But basically, I was talking to her and she said, it's simple. So we were probably Tuesday in the week. And she goes, it's simple. By Friday, you either have the 9,000 we need or you just, and that's not the cover for all the debts. That's just a minimum payment. And either you have the £9,000 limit money or we come after your house. And at the time I was on the phone, I felt lost. I mean, I've still got the throat is starting to catch now just thinking about it. I felt lost. My body inside, it's like things exploded inside of me. Like, like if a chakra was a blood vessel and it burst, is very much how it felt. And I got a whole lot of health issues afterwards, by the way, following that phone conversation. But it was so scary. I still feel it now. It was very much milder than back then and than even an hour ago, but I still feel it now. Oh my gosh, now there's nothing I can do. Lost total control. Somebody took my life over and to destroy it. And there's nothing at the time in my head There's nothing I can do. My power is gone. I have no power over this. I have no control over this. I cannot do anything about this. And I can't even surrender to it because it is inhuman, it's illogical, it doesn't make sense, it's stupid, and it's shitty, literally. And then eventually, at the very last minute, within that week, I found a solution and managed to provide those £9,000. I borrowed from some friends, and I will forever be grateful to them for um, trusting in us, for trusting that I could pay them back, for trusting that I was reliable, even though that I was in a position that showed everything that would, like, it's a situation that shows immaturity, lack of success, lack of control for me to have ended up in that situation originally, and still they trusted me and lended me that money and paid it back completely fine, as I should have. But my point with this is, when there's a situation like this that I can't control, that another human, and so that in that particular case, it has to do with the government, so about society, about the external world, and the infrastructures we have in place, feeling a loss of control towards that, which I believe could be one of the big reasons why many people have anger, a lot of anger and resentment towards society and towards the government, and fair enough, yeah. I'm not saying it's all good in any way, but so there's a lot of resentment and anger because of that being unable to have control. And I've had examples like this as a child. For example, the electrician coming in and uh, sorry, not the electrician, the person from the electric company to come in and read the meter, and I was supposed to stop him. I was a child. I must have been, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9, maybe a bit older, maybe 10. I was uh, I was alone in a when I was alone in the house. I was told to not let the man in if he ever knocks, and he knocked. I opened the door, and as a good girl that I was, I said what my parents said to stay out. My parents are not here. Please come back another time. And the guy, really nice and relaxed, went like, "Oh, it's okay. I'll just come in. I'll read the meter. Don't worry. It won't be a problem. I know where it is. It will be completely fine. I'll just be in and out." And there I am, looking at that man who's like 3 times my size, if not more. And I'm trying to stop him with my words, and there is no way that he's going to listen. And I just got into a panic. Then my mom was actually here, but she was in another space. She was in a basement. She came back at that time, and so then he stopped, and then they worked things out amongst themselves, and I had nothing else to do with it. But that moment where I'm seeing that man coming in and not being able to stop him, that's a great big loss of control because my words did not mean anything, and my actions were not having any results. So that's another one. Another one was when I was a child, I had two massive, big car accidents. And so I wasn't driving, I was a passenger, of course, I was a child. And no control there. And I saw the car go, the second one. Excuse me, I'm just going to drink some water. I'm going to pause for a second. Yes, so car accidents. In the second one, I actually saw the car go, and there was nothing I could do. And it happened so fast as well. There's nothing you can do, even when you're driving. No control here whatsoever, and big destruction because my body was a mess after each. My birth was another one. Got stuck in the birth canal for I don't know how long, and then got pulled out with the ventures. So here, great loss of control. I could not um, progress through, and I wasn't helped until the very last minute either. I won't go into details, but basically that's how it was for my birth. So again, total loss of control there. And okay, that's going very deep into the subject, but that's what I do and that's how I am. That is my journey. Uh, there was another part of this that I wanted to mention. What was it? Oh, yes. Another loss of control experience is when I feel a certain way and then I am told that I am feeling different from how I'm feeling. Um, and so this, I'm going to go into some sexual content here now, because there's a very typical uh, moment where that happened for me. And I believe that this could be happening a lot, actually, to a lot of people. Is that so? I was with my partner and we were going to have sex, and he looks at me and he goes, "Well, yeah, well, he behaves like, oh, well, you are ready for it. You're ready for penetration, so I don't need to do anything to you, and let's go." Of course, penetration for me, and I believe probably for quite a few women, is the least pleasurable part of a sexual encounter. So that means that basically, so I didn't get kissed, I didn't get touched, I didn't get caressed in any way, or held, or nothing. It was just literally penetration. The only parts touching were the hips, and that's it. And yeah, I was ready because my body reacts to sex and to the physical attraction to that person in such a way that it's preparing for it. But I also know what I need and what I want. You don't get to tell me what I need or want and then just take whatever you want and I'll get nothing? No. So great uh, loss of power there. Total annihilation of my feminine energy. Total killing of it. And no, you talk to me. You ask me what I want or what I like if you don't know. And it's an exchange and it's sometimes spent together. It's not just two pairs of hips hammering into each other. No, it's not that. Well, for me at least. For some people maybe that works, but for me, no. And that day I just felt a total loss of control and my power completely taken away because the feminine energy is a receiving energy. I received nothing, and not just that, but I was taken away. The right for me to want more, and the right for me to feel like I need more, and the right for me to materialize in reality what is in my heart was completely annihilated. All of these powers were just taken away within one just fell swoop. Uh, I can't remember the expression. Anyway, in just one go. And that was so really hurtful. And when I look back at my video that I did on abuse, really, it is so much about the loss of control and the loss of power. It's got to do with disrespect and everything, but the heart aching and the acceptance of staying in an abusive connection, relationship, or situation is all about the loss of power. But please understand this. In my experience, and also this is a message that I've seen quite a few times on social media. The power is always yours. It is actually me who's been giving it away. And on the other side of that coin is fear of not being loved, fear of being lonely and alone, fear of not being able to survive. Um, so I give my power away to be sure that I am loved, or I give my power away to be accepted, or to be valued or validated. Although maybe not validated, because if I'm validated, then my power is respected, I would think. But for the rest, it's all about feeling loved and feeling safe and feeling comfortable and being able to survive. And also, I expect this is like the shifting between survival and thriving mode, which is that you actually, when you embody your power, you are no longer needing to be validated in surviving, and you no longer need to be reassured in survival. You actually are able to aim for thriving and to achieve and attain a lifestyle that allows you to thrive. But for this, you need to claim your power back. So that leads me quite nicely to the next section of this video, which is how am I claiming my power back? So I'm doing several things about this. The first one is tapping, as I mentioned earlier. And today, I focused on what? I focused on that event with the HMRC, with the taxis, and two other events where I felt powerless, like, oh, there's nothing I can do about this type of thing. And so I tapped on that feeling. And I tapped on that feeling about this. I tapped also about my partner that was like the ache that inside the heart aching to get something that it really wants and to not be given it, but to be made to believe that it could happen also. And also, I've done that to myself. I've led myself to believe that I could have it because I was dreaming that that person could change. And we do that a lot in relationships, humans. We, uh, we have the dream of what it could be, but we forget that people cannot change. Oh, no, sorry. Let me say that again. We cannot change people in the direction where we want them to go. People can decide to heal and change. That's their own thing, but it cannot be done by us. So I did tapping on that, and yeah. So and on the aching feeling of the heart, and actually, I also included in that a bit of tapping on how exhausted I feel that I constantly have to restrain my heart, and how I constantly have to fight against it because sometimes it can be stupid. Of course, it's not stupid. It takes decisions and it goes towards things that my mind doesn't want to go to, but doesn't mean it's stupid, of course. But so constantly having to resist that um, has been exhausting. And it for me it ties in with the power because when I've made decisions that followed my heart and then it hurt other people, then my heart was aching. And I felt powerless because I felt lost between my heart and my mind. Or maybe between two places in my heart, I'm not sure. But I was following the pull from the universe, and when I do that, a lot of people don't understand it, and it hurts. And so then my heart hurts. And then I have to fight against at least one part of my heart to make a decision and to move forward. And it felt to me sometimes that conflict of the heart uh, made me feel powerless at times. Um, what else did I tap on? The immensity of London. I touched on that a little bit more. But it was very much, so the tapping was very much against, not against, it was for me. And it was to tap to relieve um, the feeling of not being able to control things from the government. situations from the government. That was really the theme today. And and from life, events that happen in life that we can control and that can make us very uncomfortable or can mess us up in so many ways. So that's one way that I did tapping. I mean, that's one technique I use for claiming my power back, the tapping. Then one other thing I've done is I've sat in meditation and I've called my power back. So if you've seen some of my videos from the past, I have I've gone through a phase of black magic where I was victim of it, or I felt victim of it. And by the way, the victim mentality is very much linked to feeling powerless. And quickly, let me just say, when we feel powerless, we become in a victim mentality. We revert back to our inner child's wounds, and we then feel powerless to face situations. So the second thing that I did, so sitting in meditation and calling the my power back from whoever's taken it, or rather, like I said earlier, whoever I gave it to. So with black magic, I always felt overpowered by other people. And I will get back to that when I start doing the vlogs on the black magic experience I've had. I have not done that yet, even though I have said I would. Um, I always felt overpowered by people's magic in terms of them trying to hurt me. I learned and realized that black magic doesn't exist, and instead I was experiencing people's thoughts, and people's thoughts were actually reshaping my thoughts because I was in a victim mentality, and I was giving them my power, and in doing so, it empowered them to have an effect much stronger on me, if that makes sense. So I sat in meditation and I called my power back, and I literally cut off. So there's this practice that people call cutting cords. I cut off all energetic connections with a person. So in my head, I visualize the person and I see the energy as it is, but you can also just visualize some cords and then with a giant knife, just cutting them. Or sometimes I put a wall of ice and cut them with a wall. But then it depends on whatever works for you, yeah? There's so many ways to do this. But so I cut the cords from that person, whoever I'm focusing on. At the same time, I'm asking for my energy to come back to me and their energy to go back to them, good and bad. And I ask for my power to come back to me as a separate thing added on top, just to be sure, yeah? Just to double do it, yeah? And now, be careful with this because then you get a shitload of power coming at you, which is yours. It comes back to you, but it can have some particular effects coming back to you. And one of the things it did for me is I went through a phase of a couple of days of raging anger. Oh man, I had so much anger, and of course I just kept releasing it as it came. But just so you know, it can have some effects like this. It can be it also had effects in me in uh, overpowering people in situations when they were trying to belittle me or what. I would like row like. What are you daring to do now? You know, it was quite funny, but it is something that needs to be managed until it settles down, until it comes back in completely and settles within you again. But so that was quite funny. And also, I became more buzzing with energy, and I was more into action mode. So I would do like there was a moment at night where I was like, like I'm filled with energy and I need to do something, and there was nothing to do because I was meant to be going to bed. So there are situations like this, the funny situations like this that can happen when you claim your power back. So be aware of this. Um, right. So that was the second one that works very well for me for claiming the power back. The third thing is being there for your inner child. So I have been hugging myself, not physically, but shutting my eyes, feeling in me the little child, and then seeing me as an adult, taking me as a child in my arms, and forgiving my inner child, and accepting my inner child, and loving my inner child, and laughing also with my inner child. Um, that is incredibly empowering. And in this way, you claim power back from the childhood. I've done tapping also in the past on the situations where I've lost power over people, lost my power over the situations like the car accidents, this kind of thing. If you are a Reiki healer, you can put your hands on yourself somewhere, rest them on your chest or on your belly as you are lying down or seated comfortably, and simply ask for the universe, or for the Reiki energy rather, in that situation. Or me, I just ask for from the universe and Reiki, um, to return my power to me. And you could also, um, as you go to bed at night, ask for the universe to return your power to you from any past experiences that are ready to release as you sleep. There are unlimited ways of doing this. There is no limit to the universe, there is no limit to you, and there's no limit to what you can do. It's just a matter of knowing yourself and knowing what works best for you. Maybe none of what I described works for you. Maybe everything works for you, or maybe you'll come up with other ways that work better for you, or that you can put together with what I described and make it work well for you. But you could also just stand in meditation and know you've never lost your power. It's there. That's another good one. And it helps to reshape the brain, reshape the thinking rather, of the concept of loss of power, because no one can really take your power. It is just that you're perceiving that it's gone. But it is still here. And it's always been here. So it's just a matter of returning to it, hugging it and making it your own again, claiming it again. Because ultimately, no one can take our power. No one. Until we believe that they can, and until we then believe that we are giving them the power. Or rather, believing that they are taking it, which is the equivalent of us giving it to them. Okay, so this was a little, well, actually, 33 minutes and 33 seconds and now counting video on power. I wish you a wonderful, powerful day in loving yourself and finding yourself at a deeper level with love and kindness. Bye.